In today's video, we have an action-packed one for you guys. We have a lot of storminess on the way for a lot of the central and eastern United States. Two back-to-back massive cooldowns to start off the early meteorological fall, which is going to bring even cooler temperatures than we've been dealing with. A pretty historic end to summer, early fall time frame, just because of how cool it's been. It's likely been 10, 15, 20 years since we've seen anything like this. So truly, truly amazing. And multiple tropical threats as we approach the peak of hurricane season. Now, before we dive into things, be sure to check out Prestige Weather in the description and pinned comment down below, as well as the top right corner of your screen. We do have a promo going on right now. If you add discount code DIRECT at checkout, you will be getting 80% off your purchase, or in other words, it'll be 99 cents your first month. It's typically $4.99, but you'll be getting that for 99 cents your first month. It's an unbeatable deal, and you guys can definitely use that to try it out, see if it's for you, see if you like it. And if you don't, you can always cancel without any real penalty. So definitely worth the try at this killer rate. We also have many early access videos coming to that community. So if you want to get early access to any of the videos listed here, these will all be available to our Prestige Weather standard members very soon, if not already. With all that being said, let's dive into things. I want to take us towards tomorrow afternoon, and really what we're dealing with for the day on Sunday, the 25th, is a little bit of these drier conditions that we have been dealing with. We do see some storms across some of your south central areas of Canada, as well as the Rockies here of the United States. And there is some around for the Gulf and the southeast, although it isn't that plentiful. It's just a couple of passing showers or thunderstorms there. Monday is a lot of the same, I'd say, for a lot of your northern areas. There's a higher chance of storms, overall showers or thunderstorms here, starting in Montana and Wyoming, stretching through the northern plains, the upper Midwest, even into the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. These are all areas to be watching. Along your Gulf states here, we see that a lot of these areas are dealing with storms as well. Definitely worth noting. Tuesday here, what we see on August 27th is thunderstorms really prevalent through the Four Corner states, through into the Gulf states here. Also north of the Great Lakes, we're seeing plenty of thunderstorms and showers, so definitely an area to eyeball. We see for the Pacific Northwest, lots of showers and even snowfall showers there for Western Canada. Very much so early compared to normal, so this is just another way that this fall and even late summer here has just been highly unusual for many areas across North America. Let's take it towards Wednesday on August 28th. We're approaching the end here of August, and we do see thunderstorms and showers here throughout Alberta and through British Columbia. We're seeing some snowfall there along those Canadian Rockies. Definitely an interesting phenomena happening there. Four Corner states down through the south central, we are seeing quite a bit of precipitation here, and there is a passing shower or thunderstorm here for a lot of the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, or even into the northeast there. By Thursday on August 29th, what we're seeing here is a stronger low here for central Canada. It's a 997. We see a stretching cold front underneath, and this is going to bring not only some intense thunderstorms and showers, but also a very major blast of cold air behind it. So that's definitely going to be something to watch for. Meanwhile, we have a few showers and thunderstorms underneath all of this, with that Gulf energy really flowing into the south central and Gulf states here. We see around the mid-Atlantic, there's also some showers and thunderstorms around. Again, that's going to be for Thursday on the 29th. Friday the 30th here, we see this cold front underneath this 983 millibar low pressure center is giving way to cooler air, mostly for Canada and the northern states here. It's not diving too far south, this one. Meanwhile, we also need to watch the tropics, as there's a few areas of concern here across these tropics, as there's a lot of moisture in here, and it's sitting on top of historically favorable conditions. I would say the most favorable conditions we've seen in the tropical Atlantic of all time. And when I say that, I mean recorded history, of course, because there's always the people like, how do we know this didn't happen 5,000 years ago? And absolutely, if you go back far enough, I'm sure we've seen periods of this far favorable, but not in recorded history, really. It's just from coast to coast, from the United States all the way to Europe, down through Africa, back over through Central America. All of these waters are highly favorable, and combined with a La Nina phase ENSO, which is just crazy. You know, even if this year ends up being not quite as active as it could potentially be, and it isn't the worst season of all time, I would never in a million years forecast anything different based on what I've seen in the conditions. It would be completely irresponsible to not basically go with the side of historically active because of the potential at hand. Sometimes things, for whatever reason, don't go as expected, but that doesn't mean that the potential wasn't there in the first place. You know, and everybody, you know, you go to NOAA, you go to a lot of universities with strong weather programs. All of these very, very credible sources are also calling for a historically active season. So it wasn't just me, it wasn't just other weather YouTubers, it was also basically the entire community and profession backing this claim. So definitely there is still time for this season to be the worst of all time. We've seen, you know, quieter starts to August with very explosive Septembers straight through November, and we could see something like that. But I guess in other words, if this season isn't as active as expected, that doesn't mean really that I would have ever forecasted anything different or should have at all. Now, by the time we reach Saturday on August 31st, we see thunderstorms and showers around again for the Four Corner States in through the South Central and in through the Southeast as well here. Meanwhile, cooler air is pretty much free flowing in through the Canadian border here. Sunday on September 1st here, your first day of meteorological fall. We see a jet stream pattern like this, and again, cooler air is beginning to flow into the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northern Plains. Pretty much a vast area of instability along that line. We're seeing more activity along the East Coast. We can see where that cold front boundary is as well in a couple of spots, and we have more activity for the Four Corner States. So definitely this brings with it quite a bit of activity. Monday, the 2nd of September here, we see that the East Coast is once again very active, even the Four Corner States and South Central states. And then as we reach into Tuesday on September 3rd, it's a lot of the same here for the Southeast. We do see that in the Gulf of Mexico, we are seeing a tropical low wanting to develop south of Texas there, south of Louisiana. And this is something that I'm going to be watching very closely. And really, throughout this period of a lot of moisture here in the Gulf, in the Caribbean, we're going to be watching for tropical lows to pop up anywhere and at any point. A lot of times these can be highly unpredictable and something that should be really monitored over the coming weeks. Even if it's not really indicated by models yet, they can suddenly shift their opinion on something like this, and I've seen it before many times. Also, with this current jet stream pattern diving into the South Central states, you would expect this to flow eastward for the most part, is kind of what I would expect, and maybe even bring impacts along that southeast area as it tries to latch onto that jet stream. So with all that being said, let's see what happens here. Wednesday afternoon becomes a weaker low. Jet stream is diving even further south, something like this. So again, could try to latch onto that. That's probably the most likely outcome, and we still have a lot of southeast activity. It's been days now by this point that we've been seeing that on this model run. So very, very interesting. This thing rapidly develops already by Thursday, September 5th, down to a 978, likely a hurricane south of Texas. Really, really stagnant. Friday on September 6th, it's a lot of the same. Meanwhile, we have historically cool temperatures in the east here. I mean, this is a massive early fall time trough for September 7th. This would be bringing cold nights and cool days, so likely a lot of 50s and 60s as highs, and even 50s and 40s, maybe even the first upper 30s for some areas as lows here, if this was to really pan out. So very interesting. And by the time we reach Sunday, we see that this storm on this model really just stays stagnant and fizzles out. So it doesn't latch onto that jet stream. It really fizzles out. There's still plenty of moisture there, also north of the Bahamas. So these areas need to be watched really closely. And Monday, it's a lot of the same, except we're quieting down over the lower 48 overall. Here is your European AI model, and I want to show you this because this model is very consistent in the long range, which has been interesting. We've just really unlocked this model, if you will, this year, so it's a brand new model, but every single day it shows this tropical wave moving out of our MDR, which stands for main development region, and it heads kind of towards the Bahamas here, and it's been showing this daily around days 10 and beyond. Very interesting. And look at this, down into the 970s, even what is that, 968 there, and it's awfully close to the East Coast here. I mean, this is a threatening look by September 7th here. Really going to want to monitor that, as this model's been showing this every single day. It's a 967, very close to the Outer Banks. Also, the rest of the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast would be on high alert here in this type of a situation. Definitely something that we're going to watch on this model every single day. But again, it is very consistent in the long range. It calls for a storm, and it continues to call for a storm typically when it does. It's not like what we're used to with the GFS model and the European model, where they just show something and then it fizzles away the next run. That's not what I've seen from this AI model. It really sticks to its guns, even in the long range, as I've mentioned, which is really unique. The total precipitation looks a whole lot juicier here across a lot of your south central Gulf states, southeast states. This is looking all of a sudden a little bit more active. Again, we get tropical activity here in the Gulf, maybe even some tropical activity off the southeast in future runs, as there's just a ton of moisture there. And overall, days and days of storminess here for the southeast. So looking a lot more active. And when we look at the compared to normal activity, we do see that a lot of these areas are seeing near normal to above normal precipitation, which I could not say a couple of days ago. So especially here in the Four Corners, in through the south central states, along the Gulf Coast a little bit above average, and then the southeast is near normal, which is a lot higher than things have been. Still quite dry for the Rockies, upper Midwest, Northern Plains, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and into the interior Northeast. But things are kind of on the upswing. I do suspect we will see more and more activity trend in and eventually trend away from these drier conditions overall. Now, for the temperature pattern, we are still under a cool down. A warm-up is rapidly approaching, though, and by this week into mid this week, we should see that warm-up prevail. But Thursday, we already have the next one moving in, Thursday into Friday the 30th, and we should be left with cooler air, especially for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast here, as you can see, still by Friday the 30th. Now, we warm back up after that point a little bit as well for most areas, but look at this. Another cool down is on the way, and this one's a whole lot more major. This is Monday the 2nd. And we see widespread areas of 10 to 15 degrees below normal, maybe even 20 to 25 there for some of the plains in Northeast. Very far compared to normal, below normal there. And we see this last. I mean, this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday here, Sunday. Look at Sunday night. Still below normal for the East Coast here. That's September 9th. So we could be seeing a week plus of cold air for early September. I know a lot of you would love that. I certainly would as well. It still is a little bit long range, so take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but I feel pretty good about it. The models have done a nice job of indicating these cooldowns in the long range and overall being right about them, especially this last one, as you guys know, has brought very unseasonably nice temperatures for August, I would say. Cooler nights, I mean, you could use definitely, even here in Virginia, Southeast Virginia, a hoodie at night, long pants for sure, and you would be more comfortable than if you had shorts on and a t-shirt. So it's been cool, even 50s at times here, so definitely unseasonable to say the least. Here's the long-range temperature pattern, again, warming up here for the end of August, but for that first week of September, here's the look. Much cooler here in the east overall, with warmer temperatures out west, and this has been consistently shown. We have long-range CFS model support here alongside the GFS model, so this is definitely looking like the most likely outcome. The week 2 of September also looks quite cool, a little bit less, so probably not as much confidence here from this model, but 7th through 12th there. I guess this is 5-day increments, so let's look at the 12th through the 17th, still cool. Here's the 17th through the 22nd, still cool. 22nd through the 27th, it cools down out west, likely warming a little bit in the east, definitely a little bit of a changing in the look here. And then for October, we suddenly shift to a colder pattern here. I guess it jumps like 5 days there for some reason, but we do look to have a warm beginning to October here perhaps, but this is very far out. This is the 3rd through 8th of October, so when you're looking multiple months like this, you should take it with a grain of salt, of course. But overall, looking cooler for the beginning of September, after we kind of warm up here for the last week of August. So definitely a roller coaster coming, but there is cold air still in sight for you cold and snow lovers. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to check out Prestige Weather today and cash in on that discount. The code DIRECT, it's a great deal. Be sure to subscribe. We do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.